Welcome back aboard Arabella. This week, with the ban on being in the woods still in place throughout Nova Scotia, Steve and Robin elected to leave Terence Bay and get the boat north and closer to Newfoundland, passing through the Bras d'Or lakes along the way. But there was one little job that Steve made time for on the day before their departure.
I'm going to do something I've been meaning to do for like 2 years now, and that's calibrate the dipstick. So we've got 3 tanks underneath the cockpit, and they're all mounted very close to the same height below deck. And this has been my dipstick. I put a piece of tape where the tanks are full, and other than that, I've just kind of guessed. But this tank, the one that we primarily pull from, is at the moment totally empty, and I'm going to take the opportunity because we're filling up with jerry cans. So I ran the Keenan filter down below and pumped the last little bit of fuel out of this tank into one of the other ones. So I marked our dipstick here with one mark where the tank is totally empty and we are no longer sucking up fuel. And now I'm going to put 5 gallons in and make a notch where that lands, and then 10 and 15 and 20, and we'll have a much better idea of exactly how much fuel is in this tank. So this is a shaker hose. There's a little fitting at the end with a little ball in there. And all you do is put it down in the fuel. And jiggle it up and down. And gravity does the rest. All right. And we'll let that run.
Leaving Terence Bay. I'm really sad to be leaving. I feel like this is the saddest I've been to leave a place, and I feel the most undone. Like the biking, some awesome cliffs around here that I was so excited to check out and do, and we didn't get to do most of it, and that's kind of a bummer. But we're heading north to the Bras d'Ors. They look beautiful. And after that, Newfoundland. Super psyched. So you win some, you lose some.
Steve had help on board from his friend Kyle, who was last aboard Arabella on her last weeks in the boathouse. And if you remember someone playing violin up on deck around that time, that's Kyle. Although Hurricane Aaron was at this point passing by the Bahamas many miles to the south, Steve and Kyle had a sporty southerly wind that took them straight toward their destination. They spent the 2.5-day journey riding the same tack.
Shifted and we're going to windward and we're heeled way over. It's not a Kiva's favorite. Oh, bud. Oh, that's a good boy. I think it'd be a good boy. It's supposed to die down in an hour or 2. This is like its final throes.
we got that big honking container ship in front of us. And that's him right there. AIS vessel. So, Zuiderdam, 286 meters, that's a big boy. 3 nautical miles away, moving 18 knots. So if I think we're gonna have a conflict, or I'm not sure, I can call him with the radio. And he can do the same with me if he's paying attention and notices. Technically, I have right away. He's under motor, I'm under sail. But that's kind of like saying that you have the right of way in a crosswalk in front of a dump truck. You have the right of way, but you know, physics and laws don't always agree. So, I wonder how many people are aboard looking out at us going, "That boat's so small!"
Around midnight, Kyle and Steve tied up next to the lock at the St. Peter's Canal, the entrance to the Broad Yor Lakes. And there they met up with Robin, who brought the truck up from Terence Bay.
Get ready to get a line up there. So why don't you come back and grab some lines and get ready. As close as I can. You're gonna have to spring up there again, and then get a midship line first. Okay. And then we'll go from there. All right, get that made off nice and tight. No, just wrap it around a bunch of times. Just get it tight.
Did he catch that?
We'll edit the first one out.
I just flicked that right off. Wow. Nailed it. Good old salt.
Wow, the bridge is cool. It's a spinny bridge. Bredor Lakes and Cape Breton. As soon as you get through the St. Peter's Canal, you will realize that you have arrived in a very different body of water than the cold, gray North Atlantic. The fog disappears, usually. The brackish water is warm and smooth, the tidal range is slight, and the shores are pastoral and welcoming. The whole lake system is about 45 miles from north to south with long arms and a maze of snug harbors that you could not exhaust in a month's cruising. Most yachts enter through the St. Peter's Canal at the southern end of the lake, which we've just done, and it exits through the north with the Great Bredor, a narrow, deep, and tidal-swept channel. Where are we going next?
That's to be determined.
TBD!
I think we just want to be somewhere before we kind of get out into the open water, right?
Yeah, I think
We're
so too.
kinda
Let's save
looking-
that for...
We want to end
next
up
day.
kind of around here, right?
I think so.
Oh,
4.5. That's pretty good rating.
Beautiful and very protected. Tight entrance for a 53.59 draft trawler, but plenty of water if you stick to the center and follow your charts. A good thing we didn't go swimming. We saw jellyfish near the boat for swimming. There's a small public floating dock nearby. And in fact, a very good hurricane hold. We're about 70 knots during Dorian.
All right, what's our decision?
We landed on McNabb's Cove, specifically because there's an Akiva Island.
Yeah,
So
there's
we
a tiny little island with just a couple trees, and that would be a pretty good spot for him if it works out. I'll have to check it out, but
He likes having his own island.
As we bop through here, it's going to be short days. And so I think it's going to be a great opportunity to like set anchor, weigh anchor, set anchor, weigh anchor, hoist sail, lower sail, and do that when we're not dodging a ton of boats, and do that when there's not a sea state. Because it's really hard to learn how to do something when the boat's pitching all over the side and
Sure.
you're like hanging on for dear life.
Yeah,
What do you think?
I think that's a great idea. I think I'm ready to learn more.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely think so.
I mean, I understand it all. I know how to do all of it.
Yeah.
You usually just do it. Do we need to check the oil or anything?
I did check the oil.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good.
All right. I'd like to feel more comfortable doing stuff at night alone. Like that's something that I'm not quite ready for. Like that night that I came up to relieve George of his watch, and it was like we were motoring in like 15 knot winds, and I'm like, I don't totally feel comfortable raising sail and like shutting off the engine myself, like all of it myself.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And I think this would be like really good practice and muscle memory.
Yeah, totally agree.
For that.
Yeah, I would love to feel more confident with managing the boat on my own.
all right. So while we're motoring,
Yeah.
we just want to watch the obviously where we're going, which
Yeah.
you know, but then the temperature and the oil pressure. And if the oil pressure spikes or drops dramatically, or the temperature comes up real high,
What am I looking for? Because the temperature is all the way down and the oil is at 4 and
Yep.
a little over 4. So what's spiked? 5, like all the way at 5?
yeah, so you'll see
Okay.
5. It's usually around 4 when it's cold,
Okay.
and then the oil pressure will drop a little bit. And if
Okay.
you lower the RPMs, it'll also drop a little bit.
Okay.
But somewhere between 3 and 4.
It's just a little baby. We're in about 20 feet of water.
Okay. That's 100 feet of chain.
Feels like it bit pretty well.
See where we are in relation to that shed and to the shore? So like,
That shed?
yeah, or to the shore. Basically
Yeah.
pick something that's kind of like dead in line with us out there.
Okay.
Kind of get an idea of where we're sitting. And then
Okay.
Same deal over to this shore.
Okay.
And then you can see where we are on the chart plotter.
Yeah.
We'll zoom that. Way in.
Okay.
So those are just kind of like our references for when we put the motor in reverse and pull it tight.
we don't want to be going farther back.
Yeah,
we kind of
yeah.
want to like sit, hopefully just sit right back to where we were.
Okay.
So having those kind of marks, it's hard with how much it's swinging us around right now.
Yeah, I know. It is swinging us around real good.
But when it's swinging us around, see how it's making this line here?
Yeah.
If we sit for a minute, that's just going to kind of go back and forth
Sure.
and mark the outer edge of our arc.
Okay.
Now we can put it in reverse and see if we end up back on that same arc or not.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay.
This island is not too far behind us, and I'd rather
Yeah.
not end up on it tonight if
Nope.
this gets worse for some reason.
I would like to not end up on it. Say that might even be my goal.
All right. So why don't you go ahead and give her some reverse. Yeah, go ahead. You want to get the boat, like, not moving super fast, but a little bit. Go ahead, give her some gas. A little bit more, a bit more.
Good.
Oh yeah, I don't think we're moving.
We're not
at all.
moving at all. Like not even. Nah, not even a little bit.
We're not budging an inch. I'd call the anchor set.
Yeah, we are here.
Brought Vicky ashore, took her bolt out, and put the length of line through. With a stopper knot. And this is temporary while I splice on a new painter line. We have our dinghy painter line ashore. So we have our massively oversized eye bolt, a couple washers, 2 nuts that we tighten on with Loctite, and then hit the threads with a ball peen a couple times, really trying to make sure that these don't come off. These came off once, and we woke up to a missing Victoria, and I don't ever want to do that again. We have our metal thimble, which helps protect the line. When I did this before, I didn't know how to do an eye splice and double braid, so we just tied a bowl in, and it has worked just fine so far. Now this line is still in halfway decent shape. Down here where it attaches to Victoria, it's a little bit thinner, it's a little bit stiffer, less supple than the end of it that has never really seen much use or work, and this is exactly what you would expect. So as this line gets yanked and tightened and worn, it all compresses and hardens and loses a little bit of its elasticity. The main reason for replacement is this spot here, and it's in pretty rough shape. So at one point in time, this wasn't in the chalk and we rubbed against the auto helm bracket on the stern and chewed it up pretty good. So it is about time to replace this. I've got my tools to do the splicing, and then we are going to upgrade a little bit. So we have our new painter line, and we're going to use the sheath from the leftover line from doing the anchor pennant a ways back, and some elastic. And we're going to see if we can give this a little shock absorbency. Today the pattern maker's vise is the rigger's vise. I have the dogs up, my eye on here, and I'm going to use this to put a little tension, pull this splice tight, and before I put some seasonings here. I think this is my nicest eye splice yet. Shocker, getting better with practice. If you want to figure out, learn how to do this, there are a ton of great YouTube videos out there. I'm probably by far and away not the best teacher for this one, but don't be afraid. It's not that hard. And I would say the two biggest pieces of advice I can possibly give are do yourself a favor and start with new line. I know it's tempting to think, oh, I've got this old stuff, but it work hardens, the sheath tightens up around the core, and it gets really, really, really hard to splice, maybe even impossible. So do it with new line, and if you go purchase new line, feel it, and you want a little bit of give between the sheath and the core. If it's super, super tightly woven sheath over the core, you're gonna have a harder time splicing it. If that sheath feels looser over the core, you're gonna have an easier time splicing it. These are things that I have learned as I've done this. And what I'm going to try to do, and see how this works, is tie the elastic to our painter line on either end and leave some slack and have all of that bunched up and tucked inside this black sheath, protecting it from UV and keeping it from getting tangled in anything. This is a pretty short length, so even if we tie up real short to a dock, we're still having that much painter line out. That's not a big deal. And hopefully this will help with some of that shock loading when there's bouncy seas and Victoria's tied up alongside as we're getting in or out or putting the tender motor on or off. I use the hot knife to carefully cut the sheath away from the core. So the edge of the sheath here is all melted together. So I'm sure it's going to fray a little bit, but it should hold together. And I can slide it on the core. And the same thing down on this end. Since I have to pull this core out and get rid of it, I've got my bungee taped up. I got our painter line end, and then I took some twine and just sewed those together through the end of the core with some tape. Nothing fancy, but my hope is that I can get the end of this started over here and then bunch it up on the elastic and then slide the whole assembly down to the eye. All right, what do you think? Will it work? I think so. We're gonna find out. So I just gotta tuck this line inside and get this sheath lashed down on either end. I can install and see how it works, but I'm hopeful that that'll make a difference.
Nice.
Do this. There we go. So we'll just cinch up that. And that should make a big difference.